Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our channel, Red Bull Coffee and Crime. I hope everybody's having a great day today. Um, we have some special guests on panel. Uh, we have Coffee, who's not a guest.
Hello.
Who's not a guest. How are you?
I am good.
And then we have Shell.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am good.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on.
You're welcome. I'm excited.
I am too. I didn't even think you would, but oh my god.
Yeah, a little bit nervous, but yeah.
It's all right. You will do fine. We have Lisa. Hey Lisa.
Hey, how is everybody today?
Good.
Good. Hi, Lisa.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
So, Lisa and Shell, they, as you guys know, we have our Kyron groups. Um, we met both of them through, I think it was the first group we were all in.
Yeah.
The open discussion group. Yep.
Yeah, open discussion. Um, Stuff happened between then, and then we just kind of all ended up in the group that we made. Um, and they've been here the whole time. Like every show that we do, we talk about all this crazy stuff that happens, or even just the case we talk about. They're in the group and they see everything that goes on. So we
Yeah.
wanted to have them come on and just talk about how we met, talk about how they got interested in looking at Kyron's case and all of that stuff. So
I think it was roughly in 2021, September, October times, I believe, that I joined the open discussion group. And yeah, it was interesting. During the pandemic, I was just bored of, obviously we didn't have much to do. We were all kind of, in lockdown at the time. And I was looking through a lot of like true crime and just binge watching things on Netflix and stuff like that. And I mean, I knew of Kyron's case from before, but I wasn't very much like invested in it as much as I did back in 21. I think during the pandemic, like I said, I didn't really have much to do. So it really, got my attention. And then I wanted to know more about it. And there wasn't really much on the internet. It was more or less the same sort of story, with regards to the stepmom, and she was the last person to see him and that sort of thing. So I thought, is there any kind of groups maybe that I could join on Facebook, like something that I can kind of learn more?
mm-hmm.
And that's when I joined the open discussion. And yeah, it just kind of went from there. And I met Lisa initially. Right, Lisa? Lisa?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I was muting because the background noise.
Right.
I'm
I met you, right? And then
right, I met you, and then it kind of progressed from there. I remember messaging you, because there were some crazy comments on there from a certain someone, and I was like saying, oh my gosh, be careful. Thank goodness you live in the UK. And it was honestly,
it was kind of manic at the time. I think I was really shocked actually. At first, I started to get attacked instantly. People were asking me if I was Terry and stuff like that, just because I was asking like just normal questions, and a lot of people being very rude to me. They were blocking me.
You weren't out there saying, "Oh, Terry's innocent." You were just in there, like
Well, I was very new to it all.
None of us were.
Yeah,
yeah. I was clueless. I was absolutely clueless when I came into the open discussion group, to be honest.
You guys, we got Katie on. Hey, Katie.
Oh, brilliant. Hi, Katie.
Hey, Katie.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us. This is another, she's an admin for our group. So we appreciate you coming on, Katie, and talking about Kyron's case and everything that's going on.
Yep. Katie's amazing. She's actually a brilliant, really amazing researcher. I love her perspectives. I love her mindset. She's fantastic.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh,
So we're at the point where you and Lisa have met.
Yeah.
Now, Lexi, how did you fall into with Shell and Lisa?
Um,
Do you remember, Lexi? I think there was a post, and me and you. I don't know. There was something
I
that I
felt
sent
like,
you. Do you remember? Or no, somebody put up a post, and then me and you started to message. I think.
yeah, because we were both like outspoken in that group, and I think somebody posted something, and me and you were just speaking. Um, I found the discussion group just because, like, I was looking into other cases after I got done with, advocating for another case. I
Yeah.
found Kyron's, and then the
Mhm.
discussion group came up. So once the discussion group came, I went in there, but then I saw another group that we all know about, and I didn't really know a lot about Kyron's case. So that
Mhm.
time I was just listening to everything that I was seeing, which was Terry was guilty, where's Kyron, Terry, all that stuff. But then once I started looking like into everything, I'm like, wait, something seems off. So I think
Yeah.
me and you kind of
What
were on the
happened to
same.
Lisa?
um I don't
Be looking for her.
know. So
Where's
I
she
think
gone?
me and you kind of had like a we were just on the same page
Yeah,
about everything.
definitely. We're on the same sort of wavelength. And I mean, I don't know if you remember, but if you was around at the time, I mean, there was a lot of really nice people on that discussion group as well. And a lot of them were not exactly pro Terry, but they were okay. Like I kind of had, it wasn't difficult sort of reasoning with some of them,
Hmm.
but with the other, I mean, some of them were very aggressive and very like emotional about it, and they really wouldn't want to hear anything else. And I think that's when me and you sort of started to talk, and we were like, what's going on? There's more to this case. It's not just black and white, like the way it's been presented for so many years. There's
Yeah.
so much more like questions than there is answers. And then there was that sighting. I don't know if you remember that. And me and you, we were talking about it. We were sending each other like messages, and then I believe we tried to even follow it up. Do you remember that?
Through the sighting.
Yeah, there was a sighting that somebody had seen Kyron with a grandma like sort of
Okay.
figure
I
or
forgot.
something like
There's
that,
some.
and they put it up on the discussion group. Do you remember that? And then we were like, oh wow, like, and then we kind of messaged that person. And do you remember that?
Oh, I think I do. Like it was something about her friend, or her. No, I don't know.
was that one
Something like that. I
lady
mean, it was a
that like
while ago.
is that one lady with the that she said her some child was like in a field or something,
Oh no, that's
something like
another
that?
lady. But there was another one that said that
Okay.
they'd seen Kyron with like a grandmother type figure.
Oh, okay. I remember that was a lady that actually we continued to talk, and then she like I don't know, we fell off. We just stopped talking. But yeah, I do
And
remember
I
that
think we couldn't
person.
get through to the cousin. It was the cousin that had
Yeah,
mentioned that
yeah.
they'd seen the child, and we tried to get through and tried to make contact, because that's what we
Mhm.
started doing afterwards. We started to kind of research and follow up on sightings
Mhm.
and
So
stuff like that. Yeah.
And
so then
then
I would have come in, I'm gonna say at the very, very early beginning of 2022.
Mm,
I had followed Kyron's case religiously for the
yeah.
first 2 years. Um, but the hate, just the evilness that comes with this case,
Yeah. Something's definitely off with
um,
it.
it, it it really just affected me, and I backed off.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would check on Kyron 3 or 4 times a year, but I
Yeah.
didn't follow his case.
Yeah.
When I come in to open discussion, because it was one of those groups that I had kept around, because at that time, there were only a handful of groups, and they all said the same thing. open discussion happened to be the one that had the most freedom in it. So when I came in, right off the bat, you, Shell, and Red Bull were going absolutely crazy with your information and asking the hard questions that, you know, in all these years I hadn't seen anybody ask. So
we got a huge
because you couldn't ask it, because you couldn't ask, right,
right,
Garnet?
like, right,
if you
exactly,
ask,
because if you
were
asked,
well, it was kind of like a very stagnant group, and what I realized was everybody was talking about the same thing. They were just repeating the same story, the same thing to each other. Nothing was really being spoken about out of that context.
right,
and it just, you know, it just seemed very stagnant. It wasn't moving. I mean, there wasn't very many posts anymore. I remember speaking to another lady who was on the group, and she said to me, you know, in 2 years I have not seen this group as active as it has been since you came along, and then obviously Lisa and, you know, Lexi. You know, we kind of like really got the ball rolling on that group,
right.
and I feel like
then James came out.
yes, it was a domino effect. I think it just kind of ignited something, and then
it did.
James
It was
came
the
along.
perfect storm.
And I just want to, no one reached out to him. He came out all on his own because he felt, you know, from, you know, what I've seen posting, that he was just tired of all this nonsense.
So he made
it's sad because he was automatically enemy number one.
Yeah,
he really was. And my goodness, I mean, the way they treated that poor guy.
Right, they bullied and pushed him into going to the detectives, and then when the detectives didn't answer or didn't pull him in and waterboard him into giving them answers, then they didn't want anything to do with him.
Very malicious, very. I mean, I've been on Facebook for many years now, and I've been on a lot of groups, a lot of crime groups and stuff like that. You know, Madeleine McCann, there was little April Jones, there was a few others. I can't really remember every single one of them, but even now, like with the Brian Koberger case, I'm not sure if I've pronounced his name correct, but people just agree to disagree, and it's insane the way they are so aggressive. The way
it has been this aggressive since
ever seen a case
a weekend
like this ever. Like, hey, Sixth Sense, good morning. How are you? I'm glad that you're here because we need a mod just in case. But and just to say hey. But I've never seen a case like this ever with the bullying, any of this. Like, I've never.
And the dirty games that they play with, like, fake profiles, trying to break up groups,
break up
absolutely. Other, you know, break up admins, create, you know, like distrust, suspicion, and I don't understand it. You know, it's like he's either pro Terry, anti Terry. There's no neutral. There's no in between. And why can someone just not ask a question?
Kyron in all of this? I am just pro Kyron.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not pro Kyron because we, you know, our opinion is what our opinion is, and we think Terry is innocent. So we are Terry lovers, and we are Terry. You know, it's bullshit. It's like, just because we don't think that this woman is guilty doesn't mean that we are.
Yeah, but there were times where we did believe that she may have been guilty, and we still challenged the narrative, and people would not you know, agree to it. They just were not happy with it. And we were just, that's it, we were pro Terry, we're Terry lovers, we're Terry supporters. It's the mentality is very different. It's very narrow-minded, to be honest. Very narrow-minded.
Let's get how Katie come into our group.
Yes, Katie.
Katie.
It's okay. We can
Our
hear you.
favorite researcher, Katie.
Yes. Where are you, girl?
she finds things that no one else can find.
She notices the most, like, things
Yeah.
that I would never even
Yes.
think
Oh, I
of.
loved her mindset. And do you know what?
Yes.
Like, she's even beat me at the game. So well done.
Oh, thank
I am humbled by all of you because you all are amazing. But Katie does pick up on those little things, and I'm like,
Yeah.
where did you see that?
Yeah. And the way she explains everything and puts it into like context, you're like, wow, I would
Right.
never have like even thought of this perspective. She's brilliant. She really has that different sort of outlook.
Well, I kind of look at all different sides,
Yeah.
how the person's feeling at that time.
Yeah.
Why would they be saying it this way? Why are they saying it that way? Their characteristics.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of look at it all. But how I came into it was it came across my news feed that he was missing for like almost 12 years.
Mm.
So I watched all the groups, everybody quietly, and then noticed that this group isn't doing the bullying, isn't, threatening people or anything. So I started talking to Lexi
Yeah.
and stuff like that, and just continued researching, and that's about it.
Yeah, that's basically, what we wanted with our group. We wanted to make a group where people could come in and feel safe, and we allow all opinions, all theories, but we don't allow the bullying, the threats. That you're not going to come in here
Yeah.
saying, "Where's Kyron Terry?
Yeah.
Where's
And the disrespect. I cannot tolerate disrespect.
Mhm.
I will allow you to speak your opinion. You can tell me what you think and, why you believe that person is guilty. But don't disrespect me. Don't,
And don't disrespect other members. There's no
absolutely.
reason.
Yeah. Just let people kind of explain why they believe what they believe. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. We
Mhm.
live in the 21st century. We don't live in the Middle Ages where you wasn't allowed to have an opinion and then you'd get hung, drawn, and quartered
Right.
sort of thing. Like, come on. I don't understand the mentality. I do think it's just completely, out of order and just very immature, to be honest. We're all grown-ups here.
Yeah, it's we started the group all together. It was myself, Coffee, and actually Shell. She was with us.
Yeah.
And we had several other admin as well. We all came together. We made maybe. Oh, I thought he turned off my thing. And then all of a sudden, like, somebody was doing some very weird stuff that we've described before, like writing us saying that this person is doing this and trying to put things in our head, saying that they're showing screenshots of everything
Yeah.
that, long story, weird shit, like stuff that I would never even think of.
Yeah.
So us and Shell were actually, we were really close. And
Yeah.
Shell was the last person, well, no, Lita. Shell was this person came out and said Shell was part of this group chat. She was in there. And
We were targeted, and I was specifically
You
targeted
were,
by more than one person.
yes.
100%.
And I completely believe, because hindsight is 2020, I completely believe that all of this was because they do not want you and Red Bull to be working together at all.
Yeah.
I think that really hurts somebody's feelings.
Mm-hmm. And
I
scares
agree with
somebody.
that. Yeah, and I think, it's kind of sad that a certain person came in with nefarious reasons. I like that word now.
Yeah, I like it too.
Yeah, wicked. It means wicked reasons, where
Ill
instead of
intentions.
bad, right, ill intentions, where they're like, hey, I'm going to pretend to be a part of this group and like everyone. And the funny thing is, there were like 3 of us that kept saying, nope, it's this person. Nope, it's this person. And no one I mean, you guys booted them, but Shells is the most like open, caring person, and she's like, oh, she always gives everybody like a second, third, fourth chance. And even when she went over to that group, I'm like, I don't know. There's some crazy stuff going on.
When it's it's hard when it's all online.
We all should have.
Right.
We all should have spoke. I think more. I think it was for me. It was. I don't know. I honestly.
We completely trusted another member.
And isn't that sad? And then she's using that to,
yes,
expose people when and that's what
and you can tell that is what okay. So by that little clip, that happened, these people are mad that we're actually on a live together today. Like, you guys are so mad over what? Why are you guys trying to, I'm gonna share these messages? Michelle, I have said some so fucked up shit about you probably to Coffee.
and
that's fine. You know what? I didn't hold back either. So, and I've told you anyway.
When feelings were hurt, when we were scared and unsure, we all sort of, recluded back into our shells and tried to protect ourselves. And a lot of times when you protect yourself, it comes off as mean and not productive.
I mean, people argue, and during an argument, you're not exactly going to sit there and blow each other kisses. Obviously, we're going to be saying things about each other. And, it was a very, very strange time. There was a lot of, like, as Lisa would say, nefarious things going on at the time.
Absolutely.
And there was a lot of people coming in and out, all these fake profiles, people screenshotting, making up stories, saying that, we're kind of, playing on the other team and we have ill intentions and all this sort of stuff. And we're working for somebody else, another admin from another group. And it become a bit, hectic at the time. And everybody they planted the seed of doubt and suspicion in everybody.
Yes.
And I was definitely targeted. They didn't want me a part of the group anymore. And it worked at the time. And obviously I felt betrayed. I was upset. You all felt betrayed because you felt like I betrayed you. And that's it, really. So we had an argument. We swore at each other. We cussed each other, dissed each other. And then after we realized that everything's okay. Like, it wasn't what it seemed to be at the time. There was a lot of people that got involved and said, it's not what it seems. Shell's not the bad one. There's other things going on in the background.
Right.
Sort of thing. And then we sat down, we spoke, and that's it. I mean, what's the big deal? If they want to share my messages and make a fool of themselves, because that to me is, it's lack of dignity. At the end of the day, if you're going to use me to kind of boost your page or your group or whatever,
and it's not even boosting them, it's boosting us.
Yeah.
And, like, all these people are looking at you, but they're gonna come.
And I am sorry, but as far as us, we really do try, and that includes Shell and Lisa. Like, we don't go out and just repeat what we're told. No. When we talk about something, I have never, we've got messages between us, and you'll never see those messages come without me saying, hey, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah. But why would you go around, even if we fell out, sharing all our personal information, things that at the time when we did trust each other, to throw out into the public domain?
It says a whole lot about who you are.
You cannot trust someone like that. And I'm not saying that it hasn't happened, within the group, because, I know there was a fault between you and Lexi. But and I have said to Lexi, and like, she stopped right away. I said, Sarif is mad at you, but she'll say, she has said stuff, but she always talks about your good side. So even though
Right.
you would
Yeah.
be so mad at her, you would say, yes, she does this, and this, but I'm pissed at her about this, and
Yeah.
this.
I think
So, it's, and you both were kind of like that, and and it was kind of
Absolutely,
back
because
and forth. No, go ahead.
we always had that respect.
Exactly.
We felt like we lost part of us.
Yeah.
I mean, that was not a decision that was made. That was definitely, there was a lot of pressure put on, and that wasn't something any of us took lightly. And I will say, Lexi really, really suffered in silence for a few weeks, just trying to get over how could this be happening.
Yeah, I was the same. I was very
I'm sure you
very
were
upset, very bitter at the time as well. But I was very, very
hurt.
shocked and very disheartened at the time with everything, But I mean, it is what it is. It's done, and it's made us stronger. I believe,
Exactly.
we can move on from this now, and we can focus on Kyron, who is the main objective.
100%.
exactly. I mean, it's I think that when I think I was more going towards the other person at that time when I think we were fighting and exposing or something, and I showed a few messages, but then when
You were hurt. You were
it
hurt,
was it was
and you believed what you were being told by someone.
Yeah,
And
you were all
it's,
duped. Is that how you say it?
you were,
Yes.
and
It was Lisa that
duped.
somebody has to reel me back sometimes, but that's nothing that I would do if that was just a small portion of saying that we had made this group. So it wasn't like a personal thing, and I would never do that again because thinking at that time I was hurt because Shell meant a lot to me. Like we were like really close. We talked on the phone all the time.
Yeah, we did.
Like but it's all like you said, it's all over now. So anything that you guys think that, oh yeah, we're gonna bring up messages, I don't care.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, there isn't anything you can say about any of us.
And
Nothing.
it's very sad
You
if they
can't
share
say
that on
anything
their
about
group.
me.
Yeah, but don't you
Right.
think it's
I'm
very
very
sad? I
neutral.
mean,
Right. Lisa and Katie are like they're
We're so neutral. Like you guys would both like message me and I'd be like, oh, I understand, but I'm, I don't really want to get involved.
yeah. Oh, bless you.
And
I know.
just,
I could tell anyway. You were like, you just need to speak to her. Why don't you speak to her?
yeah, talk to her. Tell her how you feel.
it was Lisa and Daisy that really,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Daisy.
everybody
She's an
back.
angel, Daisy.
I mean,
Mhm.
after the fallout in the other group, and Daisy and I knew exactly what was going on because, we were following everything. And that's why we came back to you and said, look, this is what's going on. You need to take a relook at this and, reach out to Sarif and talk to her and just one-on-one and find out, how you guys feel because, we're not seeing the same thing you guys are. So
Yeah.
Exactly. Daisy.
And thank you, Lisa, for that, because
Yeah,
that
thank you.
definitely, yes.
Mhm.
We
And
are much stronger team together than we will
Yep.
ever be individually.
Definitely.
yeah,
100%.
we've definitely grown from this. We've learnt from this. And, you live and you learn, I suppose. And I just want to point out as well that when I did leave, I was admin on another group afterwards, as you all know. And that person believes that I ran to your group to be, with Terry. Because I'm such a huge fan,
Which is not true because
And I actually was like quiet for
group.
weeks and weeks,
Yeah.
like,
Months. You were like, I'm
Yes.
just gonna have my own little group. I'm not gonna worry about like all this other stuff. And I have, 100 members, and that's okay. And we're just gonna.
yeah, I had like 8
Right.
members at the time, I think, and I was
Yeah.
like, it's okay, whatever, sort of
I
thing.
kept telling you should go to Reddit. Reddit's like doesn't put up with all this nonsense, and you know, and
I
then
remember.
That just shows that person had wrote a post saying like, why didn't she come to our group and da 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 da. So really, that's her way of thinking. Like, she's the one that's angry because she wanted Terry in her group. Like, it's a competition, but it's not. I know
Mm-hmm.
you didn't care. You didn't come in back into the group just because, you know, Terry was in there. I mean, the group is open.
It's
You could have
open,
had
but I mean, you know,
open.
as you said it before, you already kind of put on, you did a live video and you said, you know, you reached out to me at the time. I was very
Yes.
quiet for weeks and weeks. I mean, I didn't run to Terry, I didn't run to any group, but that's what
No.
they've said about me. They can
No,
think what they like. I don't care.
I
I'm
did reach
here
out to
well,
because
you.
and
I did reach
Terry
out
doesn't
to you.
even really post that much, you know, like
No.
she sees comments and every once
What
in a
did you?
while she will correct something and she'll say, no, that's not how it happened, or, you know, this is what I have as
it's
my
good to have both
statement.
sides of the story, Lisa. That's the thing.
Exactly. Yep.
Everybody always seems to kind of, you know, throw mud at Terry. And before they used to say, well, you know, she's not talking. She's so quiet. You know, she's guilty. Now she's
Right.
talking. They're like, well, she's lying. She's still guilty. I
Right.
mean, it's a
That's what I
Exactly.
no-win.
say. Like, she can't win, you know?
Yeah.
And
There's
again,
nothing she can do.
there's nothing she can do. She
No.
is in a middle spot. Yes, her lawyer called her a de facto suspect because there's nothing to call her. You know, I mean,
Right.
she's not charged with anything. She's never been named a suspect by law enforcement.
That was
But
her lawyer giving an
yep,
example of how others felt
exactly.
about her. So no, it doesn't make sense when you're over here bashing Terry, but she's not a suspect. So how are you bashing a grieving mother as well? She raised Kyron. She lost her daughter.
She
You
lost her
guys are
marriage.
bashing
Her
Everything.
marriage, yes.
everything. She lost everything, but it's okay for you guys to like harass, threaten, bash, and all
Right.
that stuff.
And
No,
the few
I'm
friends
sorry.
that came to her aid, you
Yep.
know,
Yeah.
were bashed as well.
Yep.
And the thing is, like, people don't realize, like, as soon as like the focus was on her, you know, I mean, she had to take into consideration that, you know, the safety of her child for, you know, all these years compared to, you know, I mean, what did people want her to do? We have no idea. We have asked her, like, or, you know, posted it, you know, about the reunification process, and she has said, I'm not allowed to talk about it. And that's all
Yeah.
she says. So
Right.
no one knows. People can like comment and say, she walked away from her daughter. She did this, she did that. But the fact of the matter is, no one knows
No.
anything. And Terry's not going to say anything. We know from James that he was a part of his sister's life until 2018 when some, I don't know if it's Kane's girlfriend or wife or whatever did something or sent something to Stacy. There was probably something going on in that marriage. I don't know. It's speculation. But then all of a sudden, you know, James can't, you know, see his sister.
Which is
And James
tragic.
has said nothing but positive things about Kane.
He
His
Yeah.
loves Kane.
experience with Kane
He
is
loves Kane.
yes, completely positive. And he's very sad. He's actually very sad about his relationship with Quinn because,
Hmm.
you know, they always spent so much time together. So it's like, I don't know. There's just so many things that don't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to get Katie's opinion on where we're at right now with this.
With what? Sorry.
With
Like,
the
like how?
what you've seen as far as Terry interacting in the group, you know, whether she can be you know, right at any point.
Oh, well, I noticed she doesn't really talk that much. She hasn't changed anything. So when she does comment and stuff like that, it's always the same. The same. It's never changed. Like most people say, like she changes her story all the time. I've seen other people change her story for her.
Yes.
Never actually seen her actually change her story
Yeah.
with from her mouth and her comments. I honestly think that they picked her because they had little suspicion because she was the last family member that seen Kyron.
Yeah.
So they picked her and they started to try to build her into this character of she was the one who did it. So they're trying pieces here and there and tried to connect it to her as much as possible.
See, I feel that the seed was already planted with the supposed infidelity between Cain and Desiree and Terry
Yes.
that you know gave that ability.
Yes. Yeah, because they someone has already spoken that planted the seed in their minds that
Mm-hmm.
Here, sit right there, baby.
so they started to try to build around it with the suspect in mind and tried to build around it to see if it worked, which it didn't work because everything failed with all their setups and the isolation and the pressure for many years.
Yeah.
It still hasn't. And I don't think anybody's that strong enough with all that pressure
Yeah.
to sit back and still say, I'm not responsible. I
Yeah.
don't really believe that.
And she has been harassed for years and years and years. You know, people have called her workplace.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody like after 13 years not
Following her around all the time.
without her breaking, if
Right.
Yeah.
she did do it.
And Dee Dee as well. Like both of them. Like I don't know how she hasn't gone off or done anything. Because this is a lot for
Yeah.
a person to go through for
Yeah.
13 years. I could not. Like they take pictures of her building, working on a deck, planting, walking,
Her
like
house
her
with her front
house.
door, sharing it all over social media.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, come on, you guys. Her posting should tell you guys enough. She knows Ellie is watching the group as well because we've said it multiple times. And stuff that she said, people are like, "Oh no, she's lying." But why, if Ellie is watching the group, why would she just sit here and lie about
Because they
certain stuff?
believe she's this criminal mastermind. She
But
meticulously planned this big, this huge crime. No, seriously, if you think about it, I think there was like over
Right.
14 agencies on this case, right? So we're talking about the FBI, we're talking about MCSO, we're talking about the Secret Service, with even the Department of Defense, okay? And there were so many other agencies that was on this case at the time, right? And she eluded every single one of them.
All right. She's so like maybe she's in the CIA and we don't know.
But let's remember, now she did all of this, but she has such a crappy alibi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Oh my God. Right. I
I
drove
think the biggest
around,
part
I
of it
did
is
this.
the 90 minutes.
Right. That's such a crappy timeline. I mean,
Yeah.
what were you
Exactly.
doing? You're perfect in every other aspect of this crime,
Yeah.
but you have no alibi.
Yeah.
it just makes no sense. And I don't, even if you guys think that Terry is guilty, why don't you put that to the side and just understand that it's been 13 years? Let's do something else. Let's stop putting all this attention on Terry and focus on Kyron and look at other directions.
Yeah.
And, do more for Kyron. Go hang up these flyers, do billboards, start advocating for him. The person that did this, because I don't think she's guilty, but the person that did this is out there, like, not being pressured. So like, hi, I got away with it.
Yeah.
So
I
Well,
mean, imagine
and
if
they
she's
can,
innocent.
yeah,
exactly.
right. If something shows up that it wasn't her, like, okay, then what?
And
But
then you've
they
got this
always
person walking
reference,
free.
yep. And then
Exactly.
they reference these cases that are 30, 40 years old, like, oh, we solved them. Well, DNA back then is like 10,000 times different than DNA now. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, 13 years, technology right now is, Pretty
I mean,
amazing.
even 40 years ago, I mean, the FBI were used in cases across the world,
Right.
even in Italy. And we're talking about, you know, this. I watched something on Netflix, and it was about like the royal family in Italy that was exiled. It's a fantastic documentary, and it's very, very sad. And I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, but they actually requested information. They requested the FBI's help from the US. And they were actually very, like, they were spot on, you know, with their profiling. The only thing that they were a little bit off with was the fact that there was more than one person involved. But they did say that they need more information to be able to, you know, identify more like other factors, and it could change. But more or less, this is like, oh, this is in the 70s. So imagine 50 years ago, 40, over 40, nearly 50 years ago, the FBI were amazing at their job.
Yes.
They knew what they were doing.
Just like the what is that? Gil, the beach guy in New Jersey, the one that just got arrested for all those women's murders.
Okay.
The list guy, the oh my god,
Gilligo Beach.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, the FBI, the FBI had his you know, description or
Long
whatever.
time ago.
Yep, and they had it right. Like it was right on. It was spot on. So
Yeah,
but we just discredited them in this case.
In this case, everyone's discredited. Everybody, you know,
Yes.
except for Bio Mother. I mean,
everybody's lying and everybody's sitting on evidence, and you know, the jurors are stupid, and when, you know, all those other charges against Terry, they're stupid, and those people who, you know, said she was not guilty, you know, it's just like
the DA.
Okay.
I mean, every time there's a different
the DA. We're on our third DA. You know,
right?
He was not. You know, why didn't this happen 2 DAs ago? Or when Underhill was like, you know, a go-getter, and like, you know, Dee Dee said he was like really mean to her, yet he blocked someone.
Right. And he couldn't,
for a very good reason why.
right, he couldn't get a grand jury to say.
These people are just insane.
I'm very glad that I saw something, and I did not know this, that as of 2017, Oregon is making grand jury, whatever they, you know, they have to record it. So, you know, and release them to the defense if it ever goes to trial. And I think that's very helpful because
that's brilliant. That is.
It is, honestly. And Oregon is saying that there's too much, like the prosecution can always get a indictment like at the snap of you know, their fingers.
Right.
Well, why couldn't they get it in Terry's case? Or, you know, I don't understand. You know, if she's got all these things going on, why has she not been indicted or arrested?
It doesn't make, I mean, and since we're going to talk about that, because I guess it's going to be like a part 1 kind of thing, you guys. Like, so we already know the timeline. You guys have the timeline out, or?
I've got a little printout here somewhere.
I'm saying, like, the grand jury, they would have, I mean, what do you guys think they had?
So there's a lawyer that I follow on YouTube, and he claims that grand juries are just fluff and stuff, and the prosecutor can come in and say, hey, this is what we have, and they'll sign it as a true bill. But I don't think that's the case for every state, and I think I don't know, it's just odd that most people say that it's very easy to get an indictment for a missing child. So why didn't this happen in this case? That's what I don't understand.
Because they cannot connect Terry to the actual moment that he went missing, I believe. They cannot seem to connect her. And this is where it gets messy, because then we have the 2 different narratives. So we've got, you know, Bio Mum's narrative where she says there's witnesses that saw Kyron leaving with him. You have the bus driver. I believe 2 teachers saw him standing outside at some point, or something like that.
I know in the book she said the bus driver and
2 adult witnesses
Parson,
and a child, I believe.
Curtis.
And that's why I
And
wanted
his
to go over the
grandmother and his
timeline,
sister.
because
Yeah.
the timeline, Coffee brought up a good about the 845 thing. So do you want to read the timeline real quick and then
I
go
don't have a copy of the timeline on me.
Is that the post about Gina Zimmerman, the PTO?
Okay, so it says
president?
8 a.m. That's when the school opens. I've got
Yeah.
it here.
Right.
okay?
8:15. So it says here 8 a.m. Skyline Elementary. The school opens, and then Terry arrives shortly afterwards with her stepson Kyron. 8:15. Gina Zimmerman, president of the school PTA, arrives and sees Kyron with his stepmother in front of the exhibit.
Which we can
8:45.
assume that's when the picture was taken.
Yeah. But then doesn't
that's being
Desiree say
disputed?
that it was taken at 8:45 or something?
Yes,
I always
Yes.
get a
and
bit
that's what's
confused with
being
that.
disputed in the book, is that she says it was taken at 8:45, but there's a witness that says Gina Zimmerman was right there when she took the picture, and then she took a picture of the next student's exhibits.
Yeah.
And I don't know her daughter Mia was in that class or not, but I mean,
Maddie.
she was.
Oh, she tried to
Maddie.
join the group one time.
Yeah, but she was very familiar with like what was going on, so she's
Right.
a witness to that. So
Yeah.
and those are things that I question about the book. Like, okay, well, did you reach out to anybody, or like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we
I
know.
mean, we already know that it says in the book that nobody, took part in it. I got to use the restroom real quick, you guys. But you can.
Well, it says that there were a few friends that did take part in it, but we know that Ellie did not take part in it. Kane did not take part in it. We know James did not take part in it.
Yeah.
And James wanted to take part in it. That's what's so like, and I've read her books. I have 2 books that I've read of hers. And it just kind of amazes me that the lack of research, I should say, that was done. Like, she could have easily, James was over 18 years of age. She could have easily reached out to him and said, hey, Desiree is saying this. What's your opinion on this? And, despite if, and I don't have the book, I didn't read the book, but I don't know what Quinn said. I know what Desiree said in some comments, but it's just, I don't know. And even like to the other day, something was posted about the picture, but yet there's articles from like, years ago where the PTO person is saying, hey, I was there right at this time. These pictures were taken at this time. So, it's things like that. No one wants
A lot
to
of
question.
contradictory sort of information that's kind of flowing around.
And why can't we question that? Why can't we say, yes?
Right. Why is it automatically that we
I think we have every right to question it. Look, when I first read the book, I'm not going to lie, I actually found it quite, I found it quite a powerful read, because it was the first sort of eye-opening information that I came across, obviously from his mum's perspective.
And it's very emotional.
It's very
emotional
emotional, and it's very, in a way, like, it kind of lets you into that whole world during the time that it was going on. And, it kind of did emotionally affect me. And I did feel very, a lot of sympathy for Desiree. And I still do, don't get me wrong. I'm not completely discrediting her book, but I would not say that it's pure fact. And I remember when I reached out to Pat Brown, she's a criminal profiler. She's had like over 40 years experience. And she said the same thing. She said it's secondhand information, it's bias. And, it's not, you wouldn't take it as as pure fact. That's what she said. And, like
but
I said,
people do. And that's what's like scary. And
it's very, very scary, because anything that comes out of her mouth is like, as if it's coming from God. And, you know, at
Right.
the end of the day, she's a grieving mum. And we know that we know clearly, she's made it very, very clear over the years how much she dislikes, if not really, really hates Terry. So there's a lot of that as well that comes
Right.
with,
There's a lot of bitterness and
yes,
hurt
Right.
in her. You
which
know,
can kind
that's
of
the
blind
thing.
you a little bit, you know, it can
It
kind of stop
absolutely
you
will.
from seeing, it can cloud your judgment in a sense. I'm not saying I'm not discounting her feelings or, you know, what she says, but sometimes I do feel that she could be just a little bit off, you know, like,
Well, let
All
me
these
let me tell
people,
you a
I
all
little
these
mean, why
story.
doesn't she ever say like, "Don't do that" or "Don't say that"? Like, I mean,
all these other
there's a lot of attacks on Lexi, and I know
absolutely. And she
Lexi's
never comes out in
very
the open and stops these
right,
attacks.
right,
because
exactly,
if people knew what me and her have talked about, like behind all of this, they would be like, really, like it would just turn everybody off. It would make you think in a whole different direction, like, okay, this
Yeah.
is not fine. This woman, it's
I
okay
don't want to
for,
talk bad about her. I'm just, she's a
no,
mom.
No,
she is,
I
no,
don't think we're talking bad
we're
about her.
not
And I
talking
think
bad
this is
about
where
her.
people go
Okay,
wrong, because when we do
I
point
know.
things out,
I'm sorry.
And
people
I know.
assume that we're hating Desiree or we're bashing Desiree. No, we're not. But there are
Right.
things that are, you know, she does contradict herself a little bit.
And we've said the same thing about Kane. And if you guys are gonna get on to us about Desiree, they have said some really bad stuff about Kane.
Yeah.
So let's just, let's just say what it really is. And the fact that they say things about Terry once again, but we can't question the bio mom.
Question. Yep.
We
Exactly.
can't question. I'm sorry.
Well,
It's
No,
shady.
and
I don't
we have
like
every
it.
right to, because once you put a book out into the public domain, you need to be open to criticism. You
Hmm.
need to be
but
open to people looking at that information and really analyzing it, like us, because we're on that side of the spectrum. Whereas there's other people that would read it. I mean, even when I first read it, like I mentioned, I was very emotional. I felt terrible for her. And then, but there was something that just did not sit right. I just felt like it wasn't enough. There's more to it, because there's always two sides to a story. If you was to go
Hmm.
and sit in front of a judge today, he's just not going to listen to Desiree's side of the story.
right,
He's going to listen to
right.
Terry as well.
Well, and
Katie.
I mean, the
Yes.
thing is like this didn't start with us. People think, oh, we were like looking into her background or whatever. But when right away when she mentioned kidney disease, going to Canada, there were like reporters looking into it.
Yeah.
So this
Hmm.
did not start with us.
Yeah.
And, people like think, oh, you're questioning, you're disparaging. And no, I mean, we all have said, like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. Everything going on is terrible. But,
Hmm.
when you're not like, and I'm not saying she has to like give out everything, all information about her life, because honestly, I don't think Desiree, her husband, her family, or anyone is involved in this. I personally feel this is a stranger abduction. I've said this many times before, that it's someone that lives in the community, maybe went to this school and then
Hmm.
went on to the high school, and knew all this stuff. But it's just, I don't know. It's so laser focused on her that it's really hard to get people to think out of the box. Like,
And
okay,
it starts from her. Like if she would just
yeah,
say, okay, you know what? Let's just stop all this. Let's do
right.
something else.
Let's look
Then
at other
Well, when they
possibilities.
were calling you names, Lexi, and saying all that crap and, threatening to call CPS and stuff, she could have put a stop to that. But she
she could
Yeah.
didn't.
have.
And that's the problem that I have,
She could
because
have.
you have someone from out of state who claims to be a social worker
Hmm.
that said, "Oh, I'm a mandated reporter, and you know, I have information from our local CPS." And I asked, and they're like, "Yeah, once you leave the state, you can't do anything." But it's actually like a felony if you make a false report on somebody
Yes.
that you don't
And
know.
that's why she won't do it. This
Right.
fake little profile, right? She's claiming that I called this person's job
You
a lot of
did, and
I
other
did.
people did.
I did one. I didn't call like multiple. I called one time,
you didn't. You emailed,
and then I
and
emailed.
2 other people emailed and stated,
Exactly.
and they showed like screenshots of what she was saying.
Mhm.
Because she
And
was threatening, right? So that's why you called her workplace.
she's
Yes.
threatening,
Exactly. I
and
had every
right.
single right, and in that clipped video, I had every single right to defend my kids. Everybody's
Absolutely.
lucky that I didn't say anything worse, because really, what I really
But
wanted
I
to
don't
say
know
was
why they
something
keep
else.
targeting your children anyway, because they have nothing to do with this.
I
That's
don't know
what I
why they
mean.
keep
It's
targeting Lexi at all.
yeah.
I mean,
Well,
Lexi's
it's
no
the
different
tactics
than
that have been used for
anyone.
13
Right.
years, guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because she's the
100%.
forefront right now. She's the main
Yeah.
face
Yeah.
of the opposition, and with the other groups as well. I read before that they got shut down because of the other side.
Yep.
And again, like Lexi's the opposition right now. In in 2022, 23, that's why they're just on her so much, because they don't want the other story out. They don't want to hear anything else. They just want the same narrative to be told over and over
Same old,
again.
same
I just
old.
sort of want to
Yep.
get Katie's opinion here because we all seem to be over top of her and she doesn't seem to be.
Katie, speak up. We love you.
Yeah, come on, Katie.
I don't like really interrupting, so I'm just kind of like,
I know.
She's
Sorry, I feel like I'm always interrupting, but I'm going to
I
be
know.
quiet for
Me
now.
too.
oh
I'm
no,
always doing
no,
that.
you guys are great.
I just
Is it about like the book or like I don't?
I mean, what do you think? Okay, let me ask you a question. I'd like to know your opinion on, Desiree's stance in all of this. How does, when you look at her, what sort of feelings do you get with what's going on with the groups and the person that's kind of, her front man?
Well, the way how they go about the other people, and stuff like that, they kind of like make it seem like Desiree's hiding something. The way how they go about with all their, they're threatening, you have to follow this narrative. They
Yeah.
focused on
I mean, I kind of
but
get where you're at
yeah,
because it's that we can't hear any other side.
yes,
If
And
something scares
why
them.
can't we look there? Why does
Yeah.
there always have to be a distraction?
yes.
Yeah.
And I don't
Even if we're wrong, like, what does it matter if we
Right.
want to like talk about other sides? I don't understand that.
Right.
I
I
think
have
they
never
think we're
told
gonna.
anybody
no,
not to go look for Kyron in a hole in Oregon.
yes,
Well, and how do they think we're gonna like, with a jury pool, like, stay in a jury pool. I mean, look at the Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell case. There are people that had no clue this was going on. I mean, I have a friend who's a traveling nurse that has gone to Portland a couple times, and no one even mentions this. She doesn't, and I'm like, hey, ask your like coworkers, and they're like, yeah, we just got here, or we're not from around here, and it's I don't know. I think they think like we're trying to help Terry, and we're not. I
mm-mm.
mean, if it like I had
Because we're
said,
questioning Desiree. And again, because
right,
unfortunately in these types of cases, you will be open to public scrutiny.
yes,
And they've put so much focus, and this is what Katie's trying to point out, onto Terry, that it's like nobody can look at Desiree. And if you ask anything, you will be ripped apart. People will come for you. And that's what they've been doing for the past 13 years. No one is allowed to question even why she went to Canada, or why maybe, or if she was even involved as much as she says or claims to have been in Kyron's life, because we've got a different story now. We have Terry saying, well, I was the main caregiver. I was with him most of the time. I mean, they didn't even know his classroom. They didn't know which
Right.
classroom he was in. I mean, that tells you quite a bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not saying that Desiree was not a good mother, but again, there's always this
Right. No one
sort of
is.
No.
I mean,
side.
nobody's a perfect mom, but the thing is you own your shit. Especially if you have a missing child, like you're gonna
Yep.
have to go back and think about everything that you've done, or
Exactly, and it will be questioned, it will be exposed, and that's another thing. I think that, like Katie said, it's like they're trying to really, really hide something. They don't want something to come out, and whatever it is, I don't think it's, you know, more important than your son. Nothing is more important than your child.
No,
Whether
I bared my soul when Orion died. I went to the police station and was like, "Here, what do you need? I'll give you anything, everything. We can talk about anything."
yeah, I mean, and
Right.
even if
And
he was,
Terry has done that for so many weeks,
Exactly.
during the trial, and people are like, "Oh, well, she's not cooperating. She's not doing that." I don't know what else they want her to do. If someone says, "I don't know where he is. I don't know anything about this. This is what happened." I don't understand what, they're like, "Well, go down and tell him where he is." Okay, well, if that's like, let's just say that's Terry's truth. I don't know where he is. Then I don't know what they expect her to do. I mean, it's the same thing. Desiree, or not Desiree, Dee Dee says the same thing. I'm not involved. I don't know anything about this. What do you want me to do? And it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, unless there's
ev-
something we're not seeing from Ali, I don't.
well,
I just can't.
there's the whole murder for hire. I mean, maybe we can leave that for the next
Right.
um
Right.
That's
yeah,
a
episode, but I
whole
feel
other
like there's a lot of
story.
things that obviously
there
there's a lot of
are,
things that you kind of started to creep out of this investigation, you know.
and it's no matter how anyone sees what we're doing, if you think if it's wrong or whatever, it's actually doing more than I think anyone else has. People are now coming out, people are speaking, people are actually trying to do things,
There's a lot more awareness, yeah, like
there is
Lexi,
Yeah.
Red Bull.
there
I don't know
is
what you mind me calling you, but
But
it
even like members we've never had before are saying, "Hey, this is how I feel," and
We
they've
have
never been
one
able to
member.
express it.
We have one member that has come in, and she has been very active throughout the entire case with trying to save as much of this information as she possibly could. And her
Mhm.
sharing that in our group has really been eye-opening for me. Like, I know what was there, but I didn't have the foresight to save any of it.
Is
And
that
yeah,
the
I
person that saved everything, like all those like
yes,
she printed out everything? I know.
yeah,
I'm amazed
I
by
wish
that
that
because
people would take their time to read it, because I feel like
she
people do not read what is being posted. It would be
right.
really
yeah,
helpful.
she has
And what's
valuable
interesting,
information, definitely.
she had the forethought of like, I'm gonna question this one day because I'm not sure what this means. And I'm like,
right.
oh my God, she printed it out. Where like stuff we cannot find.
Yeah,
And
Mhm.
it's like, oh, there it is. She has it.
And she says
So
she has boxes
Yes.
of stuff.
wow.
She just hasn't went through it all.
Oh God, I
good
can't
for
So
wait for it.
her.
I know that's what I told her. I wish I was
Honestly.
closer to her because I would help her go through her boxes.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
have anonymous people. Now, you guys, I am being talked about once again. I'm all these anonymous posters.
Me
Okay.
too.
Oh yeah, you both are.
Oh, I didn't know you were too.
Oh
You're not
yeah,
very discreet, are
I
you?
get messages every once in a while because because there's a reference of something and it's like you reference that and I'm like,
Yeah, and it's you,
okay,
Lisa.
Okay,
it's
look.
me.
We
No.
we say what we have to say, or I say, and I know Lisa does too. I say what I need to say, as everybody knows. I speak up. If I post anonymous, it's somebody that's sending me something, and then I'll post it, but I'll say this is from anonymous. Because some people, they don't know how to, do
They're
that.
not tech savvy.
Yeah. Like the neighbor. this neighbor comes out, and I've talked to her for weeks now. These people think that I'm her as well. I mean, I guess I'm sitting there having conversations with myself every day. I don't know.
And you've showed us the conversations. So that's
exactly,
like, you know, the difference. It's like, okay, we know this. I don't know her. And I, you know, that's why I question it, because I wasn't sure what was going on. But, you know, we all get messages from people that say, I'm scared, you know, what do I do? And, you know, they don't want to be blasted out there, and they don't want their names posted in some, you know, chat or
they see what has happened. I mean, and this isn't
exactly.
This is not the first time. This has been happening for 13 years. I am sorry, but you know, our group is not the first one to meet this resistance.
Yeah.
Been a lot of
And it's not even, you know, I mean, we've talked about this before. I can give you at least 3 scenarios how Terry did it, or how it happened, how Kyron is missing. But I can give you a whole bunch of other scenarios how it wasn't Terry and why. And, you know, I mean, Brooke and I have talked at length about, you know, how the FBI is 100% right. And it's probably a local person, you know, and someone who possibly went to that school, you know, and knew the ins and outs of it and how to get out quickly. And, you know, did they look at all of that? You know, we don't know. I mean, it's just sad. You know, everybody focuses on de facto witness or de facto suspect, that her own lawyer called her that because there was nothing else to call her, you know. And
how do you address her in this court situation?
Right. You know, because she's not a defendant, you know,
and she's not a suspect.
She's not a suspect or a person of interest, so she has to be de facto. And it's like someone that is named something that really isn't something, a de facto president, you know. We think you're the president, but you're not really the president, is sort of a thing. Or de facto, you know, whatever.
It's just a label, I suppose.
It's a label because they didn't know what else to call her, you know. And it's sad.
And that was during was that during the divorce proceedings?
Yes, that was during the divorce
and custody.
So,
you know,
that was the divorce.
And if you look at all these court proceedings, all the cards were stacked against Terry. From jump. I was just looking for the name change hearing not long ago because I still can't understand why any judge would have allowed people to come into his courtroom and act in the way that he allowed them to act.
Yeah.
Somebody said that SG committed perjury, or what is that?
Yes, I've heard that.
Yeah,
I don't remember exactly, but yes, I know what you're talking about.
Oh my god, I was like, what the fuck? And you guys, everybody says Terry, you know, she won't sue also because then she'll have to talk about Kyron. What you guys don't understand is she tried to sue already. Wait, did somebody just leave? Oh, why did it beep?
I don't know.
But she already tried to sue. Am I correct? Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She did have a civil suit against.
So
SG.
I think, you know, it's
against who? I did not hear this. Against who?
Against SG.
Oh, okay.
Terry did. So I don't think it's that. I think there's more stuff like planning, you know, probably waiting. But either way, it's a new day and age, and I don't think anyone else would put up with that crap. I don't even know how Facebook is.
Well, isn't it interesting that, like, there's really nothing against Dee Dee? I mean, they make comments here and there about Dee Dee, and I know that they tried to, like, post stuff on their Facebook page, like, where she was working and stuff. But, you know, I don't know. Terry seems to be the main focus. And
when we talked to her lawyer, maybe he ended up sending something to them.
Dee Dee's lawyer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Judy's
I mean,
lawyer.
Desiree has mentioned that he sends out, or Desiree mentioned in a post in the open discussion group that
Mm-hmm.
anytime they try to address something with Dee Dee, there's always a, um,
Cease
you
and
know,
desist.
yep, letter that comes out and they have to stop. So, I don't know. I mean, I think Terry's just kind of resolved to the matter that it is what it is. And she's just kind of, I don't know. She's posted on the pages that, all she cares about is finding
Baby.
Kyron and getting some type of resolution. But I just don't think it's the resolution that, you know, everyone else wants to hear. I don't know. I
Well,
mean,
sadly, I don't think that Biomom will ever be able to accept anything but Terry
Nope.
did it.
And that's what
right,
makes me
unless
so
Kyron is
angry too.
found.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's why the DA has offered to sit down with her and she won't take him up on it, is because he's not going to tell her what
Mm-hmm.
she wants to hear.
Yeah.
So
Well,
let's just not hear it.
right. And didn't that happen with the sheriff too? Like she wanted to sit down with her and she had all
Yeah.
these expectations. And then she even had her own video that said, well, I wish we had a full-time detective instead of a part-time detective.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reality of the matter. I mean, it's not, yes, this is an ongoing investigation, but I don't know if there is truly this evidence that they're saying is out there, open up a GoFundMe and I will donate to that fund for you to go to, and the courts and get this case open. Honestly, I mean,
But they have that's another thing. The money, don't they have the PI that was supposed to be hired? Won't all this stuff supposedly help whatever they have? And I
well,
think if they had this evidence, then why does Kane continue to say my son is alive?
but I mean, Sarif, you know Helen, right? Helen Murphy.
Yeah. She doesn't
Yeah,
like
she
me
was trying
anymore.
to. Yeah, she doesn't like me. She
She
doesn't like
hated
me
me. That's
either.
probably why. I'm sorry, you guys. Nobody
Well, I
likes
know. I
me.
mean, well, she and I had long conversations about, with the government, the
Citizens.
LE and who's and or house or whatever his name is, Terry's lawyer. But she has said multiple times that there is paperwork the family can file that will, to get this called a cold case so
Yeah.
that it would open the records. There are
Mhm.
agencies out there that will do this for free. There are FBI agents
Mm-hmm.
that are on a pension, probably getting paid $200,000-$300,000 a year
Yeah.
that, need something to do and they would
Yeah.
love to investigate this case.
Yeah. Do you remember I
And
found one and I posted it on the open
yep,
discussion, and even the admin of that
yep.
group
But
was
once
so
again,
excited about it.
I don't think
But
And
it will ever be because MCSO doesn't want their mistakes shown. I think
well,
everybody knows.
but
well,
I mean,
if
I
the
think
family
people need to
insisted
know.
on it,
Yeah. And I think people need to know, like Helen reached out to James because she thought maybe James could file this suit against, the county. And because he's not a blood relative, they said no, he could not.
yeah.
But why aren't the parents doing this? You want this solved? Let's get it solved. If it's
Yeah.
Terry, it's Terry. If it's somebody else, it's somebody else. But, let's I I would
Get this
start a
case moving.
GoFundMe.
Get this
Get
case
it
moving.
moving.
Yeah.
Get some
all right.
answers. I mean, this is too long for this to be, like this and no answers.
It's
And
active and
that's
ongoing, but in essence, it's a
right.
cold case.
Yep.
Right. They say it all the time. No, it's very active and ongoing. If it's active and ongoing, the DA's office should be telling us people, what at least the parents, what they are doing. What are we doing? What are we investigating? What are we
And
looking
when
at?
was the last time they made a public statement as well? I think, that it's due now. It's
It's
been many,
time
many
for a
years.
public statement.
The DA said, "Are you didn't he make one last year about the evidence? Any new evidence?
He did.
Any new evidence.
Yeah, but that was
and
in
he
response
still,
to Desiree.
right.
But I'm
And he
talking a
still,
general public sort of, update about the
right.
case.
Oh, well, the other day when he was being interviewed, a member of our group, remember, asked him about Kyron's case. And then, well, we just talked about that, but the girl that interviewed asked him about
Yeah.
Kyron's case, and he didn't say anything, like he didn't give any updates, but I think he did say the same thing about the evidence, didn't he?
He did.
He kind of does allude to that. And so, okay, if there's somebody that is saying, I have evidence that this person did this for some other person and they're sitting on it, how is not, like, I don't know, the FBI or somebody looking into this?
The DA says that he doesn't have any new evidence.
Right.
But he has
I mean-
5,000 tips, and I feel that there could be information among all those tips and leads that may have fallen through the cracks.
I
over the
absolutely
years
agree with
from
you, but
different
that's where it would have to be a cold case.
Yes, and that's what I was
Because those
gonna
aren't
point
new
out.
tips. Those aren't
Right.
new information.
So
Yeah.
turn it over to somebody that, will do it for nothing and
Absolutely.
investigate this. I just don't understand it. But it's
Well-
going to take the parents, someone, to go in front of a judge and say, look, my kid's been missing for 13 years. We believe this. We want to get this solved. We all want that. So let's do it. What is it going to take to do it? And, it's like I said, if there is evidence that there's time-stamped evidence that somebody did something, okay, what is it? Let's go forward.
I just can't. I don't
Does
hold
Dee Dee
any
have
water in
super
that.
immunity? I don't either, but let's call, like when you play poker, let's show it,
Yeah.
Let's,
It's just
Let's-
always
But I
the
think
same thing over
that's
and over.
where the DA was going with his statement when he answered that question. I mean, that was well after the show, and he could have been like, I'm not answering any more questions.
Yep.
Instead, he chose to answer that question.
And they're saying
And
that
I
he's-
think that was in response. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the DA, and I
don't-
have no idea.
yeah.
But I think it was sort of his way of saying, look, she can say there's new evidence, but I don't have anything on my desk that shows me new evidence.
Is this interview with the DA recent?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll
I
send you
sent
the
it.
link for
Well,
it.
it's in the group chat, but we'll send it again.
I think I've seen it. I just wasn't sure if it was an old interview or a new one. 'Cause
No, that
there's
I've
was
been
a
away
recent
for a couple
one.
of weeks, so
Oh, wait, baby, you're
Yeah.
gonna mess it up again.
We had a member. She's been very active in the group. Both Red Bull and I have talked to her several times. And she wrote into the reporter when she heard that the reporter was going to report on this. She wrote into her and asked her, and that,
Okay, baby. Hold on.
the reporter then did the extra question and answer segment that
Mhm.
he
right.
answered on.
Yeah.
And somebody said we were lying, so I had to share the screenshots, like of the message from the reporter. We're always lying about something.
All right,
We just are
Everybody's
liars.
lying. Everybody's lying. That's the
we are at a
thing.
minute and 18 seconds.
Yeah.
So I want to sort of get everybody's final thoughts for today. And then hopefully really soon, like next week, we could come back together and discuss the case a little further into
Yeah.
the murder for hire and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because this is a deep, deep case. We have only scratched the surface.
Yes, we
Yeah.
really have. And it's going to take a good couple of videos for us to cover this.
Right. So let's give our final thoughts on what we've covered today.
Let's start with Lexi.
Lexi,
not.
Can you hear me?
are you there?
I'm sending you new headphones.
Nope, we're not hearing you.
Are you hearing me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, okay. You sending me. Oh, I need to know everything, I guess. But um, no, I just you know what? I am so just tired of all the BS going on. I appreciate you guys, Coffee, Shell, Katie, Lisa, for being in the group, taking part, doing research, like, you know, talking about Kyron every day, doing what people are supposed to be doing. And Lisa, I appreciate the fact that you're always like, you know, reminding us, like, you know, let's just stay out of all the BS. And because it really does help. You know, we stay out of all of it and it'll still come back to us. But at the end of the day, it's like they're the ones that are looking like a fool. So we just need to keep our focus on our group and Kyron. I want to let everybody know because I'm pretty sure the person is watching this that I do not. You can clip, you can do whatever you want, you can say whatever you want. I do not care. Show whatever you want, do whatever you want, say
Yeah.
whatever you want. I'm not going anywhere. I am literally staying right here.
I think that was the agenda anyway. They wanted to get rid of us both.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yep.
we're
And
not.
those videos show like the full, like if people go and watch the full videos, I've
Yeah,
had so many people reaching out and saying, "Oh my God, what like BS over
Hmm.
there," because it's just cut and pasted.
that's all. That's
You're
what.
right.
It's
It's
cowardly. People that
right.
clip videos, you're a coward. You take
Mm-hmm.
a part of what somebody's saying and then you try to, just like you don't show the full text messages when you're showing people messages, you do that in the videos. I was standing up for my kids and I will always stand up for my kids. Like I said,
Yeah.
so I do not care. Clip whatever the hell you want. Keep making the videos. Make us
Yeah.
more famous. But what I won't do is I won't sit here and put your name or your channel or your group out here so everybody can go to you. I won't do that. But
Right.
thank you for sending them to us. I appreciate it.
Right. And I want to
Um,
say Norman is very like blunt and to the point, and he's going to protect anybody that is getting abused or, like
Hmm.
false accusations. I mean, that's one thing about Norman that is amazing because I'm like,
Yeah.
I've always said that, like when they were attacking you and saying things, I mean, Norman and other creators were out there like, this is BS.
Yeah.
They were replaying it, showing it, and
They're just
it's just,
humiliating themselves.
they're right, exactly. It's a joke. And I'm glad that Norman is, again, he's very blunt.
Yeah.
He's gonna
And he's
say
and he's to the
it.
point. He's to the
He's
point.
to the point and how it is.
Yeah.
And
Uncle
we
Norman.
like 100 appreciate him.
Yeah,
But
no,
there are other
definitely.
YouTubers out there that, say the same thing or like are very blunt and not very nice to Terry. And it's like, it's sad because they don't have the whole view of it. And, so when there are videos out there posted and the whole thing's not out there and no one can respond to it or say, hey, look at this, it's sad. So
Yeah, I mean, people don't understand that we know so many clip channels on here that
right.
actually have high subscribers. We know people that could make their lives living hell. Norman, he could do way more, but we're not even.
I don't think there's
It's
any
not
need to
worth
really
it,
entertain it. Yeah,
honestly.
it's not
Exactly.
really worth
Yeah.
it because that's what they want, and then that's just going to distract, us from the main goal and the main objective.
Right.
and that's what
Exactly.
it's all about is distraction.
Yeah, and
Yep.
they're good at that.
So that's all I have to say is screw you, everybody, and leave me leave me the hell alone, please.
Yeah.
What, baby?
All right, Shell, you got anything to wrap us up with?
Um, yeah, I don't really know what to say. I'm just happy that we're all, kind of covering this together. And I think it's great that, we're kind of impartial with everything. I mean, at the end of the day, everybody has a right to think what they want, believe what they want. some of us are on the fence, some of us are kind of, leaning towards not guilty. Some might think maybe, there is guilt there, whatever, but at least we know we all have a common ground, and our main focus is obviously looking to find out what really happened to this child.
And give us a plug to your Facebook group, please.
Yes. Kyron Horman Investigative Research and Discussion.
Okay.
Is my group. If anybody wants to join, it's a private group and a no nonsense group. So I will not tolerate, disrespect and kind of rowdiness. People coming on there. It's for investigation, research, and discussion. And yeah, I think it's important that, we all focus on really looking for the truth of what really happened to Kyron. And, his mother should be grateful that, whether we on the same page or not, there's so many people out there that are looking for her son and searching for her son. And that's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
And that reminds me that we tried to make amends, and we could have had that PI by now. The way that,
and it's such a shame that people again challenge that and kind of use that to, discredit the group and everything, when really and truly all we're trying to do is look for this child. And it's such a shame. I find it very just shameful, really, that nobody wants to kind of support us in any way to look for this child, and they're not doing it themselves either. So they've been saying it for so many years. There's been many, many fundraisers over the years, but there's been no private investigator, which I find quite, very questionable, to be honest. I mean, what are you doing with all the money, all the funds? Okay, so you're raising awareness, fair enough, but what about actually actively kind of searching and looking? There's been cases that have been solved, or at least, kind of moved into a different direction by using a private investigator.
Absolutely.
Yep. And it's sad. It's disgusting. That should have happened a long time ago. But
yeah,
Katie,
I agree.
Are you ready to give us your final thoughts for this show?
Well, I'd like to thank you for all letting me join.
Oh, you're so sweet, Katie.
I know.
We need to get her to talk more.
We wanted you to join.
Yeah.
We're going to get her talking a little louder and a little more, step on our toes. We don't mind.
Yeah.
Katie's though, she's the quiet, dangerous type. She's
like, well, that's going to come out with some serious information.
Yeah, she's going to
blow the whole lid off it all.
I know. Katie's got the insights of things. Like she finds stuff, and I'm like, where did you get this?
Right?
I'm
silent but violent.
Yes.
If I'm in a crowded room of people, I barely talk. Yeah. And I do have a quiet voice.
Yeah.
I do hope y'all can hear me.
We hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I wish all the parents would give their points of views and not from their second parties on things that they see, so that it can bring the case more clues to help finding Kyron of the way how it is now, because it's not helping. It doesn't help at all. And you need all points, everybody in his family, not just one-sided. And so I think that's part of the problem. It's all just one-sided, and it's all wants to be pushed to look at one person.
Yeah.
I agree.
Instead of, well, this is how I feel. This is how I was that day. Anything, or even a week before, this person that was around me was suspicious, or these guys were looking at us, or anything,
right? Because we don't know.
Yeah,
we're never we don't know Terry. We've never reached out to her personally, but I would love for her to come on our channel.
Yes.
There's
definitely. Always an open invitation.
Yeah,
Terry,
that'd
if
be
you're
great.
listening and you could talk to House or shoot, I don't know, you're invited
We
anytime,
would do
any day.
whatever we needed to do to keep, to make everything as
Yeah, to
safe as
make it
possible.
fair.
Yeah,
Yep.
turn off
Yep.
all comments. It could be recorded, so that offer is out there just to let you know. Message any of us. I don't want to message her because I don't want to scare her off.
I'm blocked, so I can't message her. So
She
I
can't find
was
you though
I was
on
blocked.
her block list.
but that's okay. I'm okay with that. I had to make like a group page and put my name on it, and I could see her
Yes.
posts. But the funny thing is that I can't comment. So,
Oh
Oh,
my gosh.
she has got her controls on, very, because she knows that I'm very like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on or what happened.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel she understands that, because I've
Absolutely.
seen
She
comments where,
she seems to be very grounded with the
right.
fact that I understand why people have questions about me. I
Yep.
mean,
And
I've never seen her be snarky when somebody says, "Well, why?" Um I've
And
never
she
seen her be
explains
nasty.
stuff. No, and she has explained stuff. And, I mean, she gets a little frustrated when,
Yeah, she defends
people,
herself though.
right, and she's defending herself. But I think she's very, she knows that law enforcement is watching all these groups. So whatever
Hmm.
she posts in any of these groups, she knows someone is seeing what she says.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is everybody's like, she's changing her story. She said this, she said that, she said this. I have
But
posted stuff, and then I saw through my page group where she corrected me and said, I never said there was any paperwork. Who said I gave the teacher any paperwork? I talked to her the day before, and the last day of school was the 15th.
And
So
that
I'm giving
story
her
has
all
never changed.
no, never.
exactly.
No, and I actually found where it was Jamie Finster.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I have the name wrong. I apologize if I do and you're listening, Jamie. I'm sorry. But it looks to me like she was a friend of Terry's and she was trying to be helpful in the early days. I'm
Yeah.
sure that Terry probably told her, I asked the teacher, and she embellished, which I do as well. That's the problem with secondhand
Yeah.
Yes.
stories, and that's all we've ever gotten. The timeline Terry has never put out there herself. The
Yes.
timeline was released by Desiree and
Well, look
Kane,
at,
by the media.
right. But look at what's recently posted, that the picture was taken at 8:45. Yet Gina Zimmerman, the president of the PTO or PTA, whatever her
Right.
title was in the classroom with Terry at 8:15, 8:20,
Hmm.
and was there when she saw the picture being taken. So what is it? Like, this witness is lying, or everybody's always lying, or
Yeah.
it's misinformation when it comes to Terry. And that's the problem I have with, and that's why
Yeah.
I think this case is so, people
Maybe we
say,
should go
yes,
over the timeline and then look at the murder for hire as well, because there was
yeah,
that sighting at 9 a.m., I believe.
We
yeah.
Pardon me.
absolutely,
There's a lot.
we'll discuss it and we'll definitely
I
I
think a
would
go
love
into
tricycle,
to.
details.
Kyron.
Yes.
Coffee, is there anything you want to say?
We all know, I think that we really need to have all sides,
Yes.
and that we can't ever have all sides if we won't listen to a
Yeah.
side.
Yeah. I think, I've always been neutral in this case. Definitely. I think it's important that we listen to both sides, just as long
Right.
as, they don't impose their opinions and their thoughts, because once you impose something, that's when it kind of becomes very, you know, dangerous, because you're
Yes.
trying to brainwash me into believing what you believe, and it doesn't work that way. Let me learn, let me research, let me, kind of listen to what you're saying, and let me make up my own mind and come to my own conclusion.
Right. I try to put as many links, which we've been criticized for, um, I try to put as many links, and I try to let somebody know, hey, I couldn't find a link, but this is what I found.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff has been erased. A lot of the stuff has been
Yeah.
removed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
As we
So
Well, and I think we have to admit the media was not very, they said stuff, but they never corrected things, and I
Yeah.
always
right,
bring up, they say the last day of school is June 4th, and then there's all this conversation is, why would she have the teacher fill out stuff on June 4th and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, no, the last day of school wasn't June 4th, it was June 15th. So why was that never corrected?
right,
Mhm.
And,
right.
that's just one of like many things that, are out there, that I would love to
Absolutely.
talk about. I could talk about this case all day.
And that's why I was just trying to keep us in that area where we don't want to bore people. We don't want people
Yeah,
to
no,
shut off.
I get it. I get it. I totally understand it. I look at a podcast and I'm like, 2 hours and 30 minutes? There's no way I'm watching this.
Right, right. I see the ones, there's some of them out there 7 hours long, and I'm thinking,
Oh my
how could you
God.
talk for 7 hours?
Yeah. You
So
can travel to Turkey or somewhere in that time. Honestly.
we will definitely have this set up in parts. I'm gonna get that neighbor person, which is Lisa. No, I'm playing.
What? No, stop it. That's not, stop it. I asked you. I was like, who is this neighbor person?
But his neighbor person's new
Because
to
you
me,
know
so I'm
me.
really interested.
I question
Uh-huh.
everything. I'm like, what is this? Is this what is going on? So you know me.
I'm gonna see if the neighbor person can, she wants to do an interview, but I'm not sure when, what time.
That sounds
Would
really interesting.
would
I
she
think she
do a
froze.
private would she do a private interview with you without a live? Because sometimes people are more comfortable with that.
Right. I think that Red Bull froze on us.
Oh,
I think so.
yeah.
Okay. Maybe we should wrap things up, and
I agree.
Absolutely. Um,
it's been
thank you all
brilliant.
for coming.
Thank you.
You guys have a great day.
Yep. You too, my
Anybody that
dear.
views this later, if you have suggestions or would like to join us on panel, you can reach out to any one of us, and remember to like, share, and subscribe. Put a flyer up. Let somebody know about Kyron. Even if you do it on your Facebook page, it shows and it helps.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. And one thing, I just want to mention one thing last year that I did is Toys for Tots. Every gift that I donated, I taped a flyer to the gift. And
Absolutely.
one of the Marines was like, this is like amazing.
Oh,
Not
that
a lot
is
of
so
people do
lovely.
this. Yeah. And so it kind of,
And it's
they
a great
still,
way to raise awareness,
yeah,
definitely.
definitely. Because they send those gifts all over the country. It's like, just because Toys for Tots might be where I am, some kid in, I don't know, New Mexico might get the toy that I
Right.
have. And so if
Mhm.
that's another way to spread awareness. So just saying.
Good idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Lisa.
All right, guys.
Okay.
We will come back together and figure out a time for next week.
Yep. To be continued.
Have a good day, guys.
Yeah, you too. Take
Bye.
care.
Thank you,
Bye.
everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Lexi, you're having some issues and I don't know how to get out of here. Well, I know how to get out, but I don't know how to get you out. All right, honey, we ended.